Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am covering 90 Day Fiance sorry, the other way, season 2 episode 16 and 17. This is going to be putting two of the episodes together because I didn't do a review last week because I was away, but I am back. I watched, what is it, around 3 hours worth of content yesterday. It was a lot, and now I'm going to do my review today. So first we're going to start off with Jenny and Sumit. There's really nothing going on with their storyline, and it's kind of same old, same old. They just keep bringing up the divorce and when is he going to marry Jenny. Because he's kind of getting on top of his stuff and he's handling his business, Jenny decided to give him a ring that she had bought from the States and she was keeping for a moment like this. And then she presents it to him, and then he kind of, I don't want to say rudely, but he kind of shuts her down and says, like, this is nice and all, but we will have a ring ceremony and I would want to accept this ring when I'm divorced and not when I'm going through a divorce. Plus he doesn't know if he can like legally get engaged while being married technically. So all of that stuff happened. Then you find out that his wife at one point had pressed criminal charges on him, and they were all false accusations, and she agreed to waive the charges or dismiss the charges if Sumit would give her the $20,000, which that's a really crappy thing to do, and it's unfortunate that he had to go through this, but he does. And it seems like he's already paid half of that money. So then he also finds out that she is requesting $500 a month in like spousal support, which obviously freaks out Jenny. Jenny was just like, oh my god, like we can't afford this, we're living off my social security. And he goes to court, he gets everything handled, it gets dropped, he doesn't have to owe her spousal support because he's going to pay her, like, let's just call it like a settlement money. So that's kind of it that happens with them over 2 episodes. I'm not too sure if they were shown on both, but 2 episodes worth of content, and that's all I got from them. So next we have Armando and Kenneth. So this takes place after he's told the whole family that he's engaged except for Hannah. He brings her to the side and he tells her, like, hey, dad is engaged to Kenny and we're going to be a family. Her feelings towards everything is like she's very happy about it. She has no problems with this. She knows she's going to have 2 fathers, and it isn't like, it's not a big deal for her. I feel like a kid that age looks at it as like, I have 2 people that will spoil me. So there's no pushback for her. Then he goes to his mom and he asks his mom, like, hey, have you told dad about the engagement? And like his mom wants to be so supporting and so loving, but then she also wants to be standing by her husband's side. So it's kind of like funny to see her react, where she's just like, honey, like no, he was tired, I didn't say anything, I don't need to say anything. And then when she finds out that Armando wants to have a whole wedding celebration, she was just like, wedding? I thought you guys would just elope and get married. And he's like, no, I want to have a wedding, I want to invite you guys. Do you think he would come? And she's kind of giving the runaround, like, oh, I don't know. And then she finally said, like, yes, she would come. So his mom is accepting of the situation only for the fact that, like, Armando is her son, but that's the only reason. So then it's time for them to leave and go back to their new city, and he's saying goodbye to everybody. Everyone's crying. It's a really sad moment, and all Armando wants is to have his dad see him, send him off, and like recognize that like he is gay, he has a lover, he has, well, a fiance, and he's going to start his new life with them. And then at first you think like his father's not going to show up, but then his father does show up, and he does like the awkward father thing where it's just like, I know what's going on, but like don't tell me anything, and he sends him off. So that was good. So they're finally now back into their city, and they decide to take Hannah out to and go to the shops and stuff like that. And you can see from Hannah's personality that she's very spoiled, and she's used to I don't want to say manipulating her father, but kind of that way, but in a very kid-friendly way. And he always gives in, like Armando always gives in to Hannah's wants and desires. And Kenneth is kind of like pointing out like, hey, you shouldn't do this, it should be a no. And Kenneth wants to assert his position in this family, because he's not just a boyfriend now, he's going to be her stepfather. So he's going to be playing like a parenting role in this. And Armando didn't like the way that Kenneth was talking to him, so I feel like it's something that they're going to have to talk about and agree with, because I do believe that Armando should not be giving her everything she wants, but I also do believe that Kenneth, you can't just kind of insert yourself like that. You should have a conversation on how this parenting is going to work. So next we have Ariella and Binyam. There was a lot that went over these 2 episodes. I have a lot of notes. So it leaves off where she now needs to have the C-section that day. She is obviously not paralyzed. She's obviously shocked, and this is something she didn't expect. Apparently she was 2 weeks out from her due date. Her family was supposed to come over. Her mom was supposed to bring stuff that they needed for the baby. So this is a shock. And it's a shock that not only is she delivering, she's having a C-section. So that is major surgery. She's freaking out, and she's freaking out the whole time. From they told her to her being on the operating table. She's crying a lot. She is very emotional. She's at the point where it's just like you guys just leave me alone. The only thing is I did think that she needed to calm down a bit, because it would upset the baby, and if the baby needed to come out, she needed to cooperate with them, because they were going to put her to sleep, so she didn't have to be awake for it. But they eventually put her to sleep. The baby was born. I don't believe any of that stuff that Binyam said about like, oh, mothers love their kids more if they're birthed naturally versus a C-section, because you can't determine that. Like, if you can make an option or you can do something to your belly to determine that, I can understand, but most of the time it's not a choice that the mother makes. It's whatever the circumstances you're thrown into. So then that happens. The baby is born, and they still have not decided on a name, which is like, okay, cool. So right off the bat, she's very tired. She's very worn out. She's in pain. She's hearing about this baptism. Is this child going to be baptized? Is the child going to be baptized? I feel like a lot of the stuff that they're addressing in these episodes should have been spoken about and handled at least maybe a month or 2 before you're going to give birth. So they had asked about the baptism, and she was still kind of like on the fence. She didn't really want to give an answer. They're trying to figure out a baby name. I think Binyam wanted Gabriel, and then Ariella wanted Aviel, or Aviel. I can't remember, but I remember she calling him Avi. So then while she's staying in the hospital, because her parents haven't arrived yet, they're missing a lot of baby stuff, which she's better than me because planning 2 weeks before you're going to give birth is not a lot of time, especially because you can have the baby at any time during that point. So he's running around to the different markets or the different stalls trying to get just essential stuff for the baby. The baby didn't even have a car seat, so like essential stuff. The baby had nowhere to stay. Like, I was like, what did you guys even get here? There's babies that are born in Ethiopia and people have to have baby stuff, so I don't know why you waited so long, or like why did they have to be American stuff, because your baby could have been born anytime during that period. So he buys a couple stuff, and then it's time for them to take home the baby. The baby has no car seat, and he has arranged for a car to drive them from there to the place they're staying at, which is very close to the hospital. Ariella keeps mentioning that like the baby doesn't have a car seat, and Binyam kept saying like in Ethiopia it's not mandatory people hold their babies in their hands all the time. Ariella was like, nope, mess with that ish. You're gonna go walk. And when she said it, she meant it. And I think because of how close the place was, you could have just held the baby in your hands versus walking, because the walking situation didn't seem ideal either. It's not like they were walking in a nice open area where there was no wind, no dirt and stuff like that. Like it was not the ideal place to walk around with a newborn, especially because he's holding the newborn, he had to hold the umbrella. There's a lot going on. Anyways, they reach there, and then they're greeted with this tradition where you slaughter a sheep or a goat in front of them to, I guess, welcome them. I don't think that was the right thing to do at the moment, not because of their traditions, because I'm all for doing what your tradition says, or like whatever that may be. But she's tired, she's not in it right now, and to see all that, it's just kind of like, it's not cute. Especially because she's also an American, so she's not even an Ethiopian, where it's just like, okay, I know what to expect. Which I felt like someone should have schooled her on what to expect, because she was in there like, okay, this is a lot of stuff going on. So then aside from that, she's up lying down in bed trying to relax. Binyam's aunts and family members just crowd in the room, and they have to hug the baby, they do all these stuff with the baby, and it's just like, she needs some rest. Like, she's tired. It's just like, she's not at her best, and it's just like, there's a lot of stuff that go on. I feel like if this was gonna happen, she should have been notified to at least like be mentally prepared for this. So they come over, and then they ask, can the baby be baptized, and blah blah blah. They put pressure on them because they tell Binyam that like the mother doesn't have to be baptized, so the baby can be baptized. So who's lying? I don't know. He asks her eventually, when they decide that they're going to name the baby Abiel, I hope I'm saying it properly, she decides that she's going to allow for the baby to be baptized, even though she like totally dissed the process of being baptized and baptisms and stuff like that. She's like, okay, fine, whatever. So then it's been a week. They take the baby to go get circumcised. Well, the problem is that she's decided that she doesn't want her kid to resent her when he grows up and he realizes he was circumcised and he didn't want to be. And then it gets really weird because she takes the baby away, and either way, we'll find out what happens in the next episode. Long breakdown of them. So next we have Brittany and Yazan. So at this time, with all the stuff going on with her being in Chicago and in Florida, a couple of weeks have gone by, and in that time, Yazan has been fired from his job, kicked out of his house due to Brittany's social media and the way she carries herself, because she doesn't carry herself as a Muslim woman. And Yazan has had to go and find work, and he's just kind of working a lot to try to prove his parents wrong and make it work with Brittany. And he's given up a lot of things. And Brittany tells him that in order to kind of show that you're serious, you need to A, pay for a plane ticket for me to come, and B, have an apartment for us to stay. So while Yazan is working the 14 hours a day to try to provide for them, which he looks like bags under his eyes, sunken eyes, he looks tired. Brittany seems very like, you need to be a man, you need to man up type of thing, and she comes off as very cold. She comes off as she doesn't come off as understanding. So it's really annoying to watch, especially because the whole time she was lying to him and his family about being married. But thankfully she finally gets to divorce so she can actually like really marry him, but they shouldn't be together. I can't see where the love is. I can't even really see them tolerating each other. I felt like, I don't know, their relationship screams like social media attention. And I don't like when Yazan says that like you need to change yourself, but at this point I feel like they're not gonna work out, so just like cut your losses and like move on. So next we have Devin and Jun. They were a funny bunch. So they finally move into an apartment, a proper apartment, and this is like where they're going to live. And I guess Ji-hoon's dog was his parents' dog, so they decide to get a new puppy, which I'm like, with everything that's going on right now, you just moved to a new country, you just found an apartment, you're just trying to set up roots, you're gonna get a dog on top of it? Like, that's a lot of responsibility. They decide to do that. And then Devin kind of was talking to Ji-hoon about like, so it was my plan to have like a proper wedding, which I was just like, where is this money for these couples? Like, where is this money coming from? And she wants like a nice wedding, not no cheap wedding type of thing. So then, in the meantime, Devin, I don't remember what happens, but Ji-hoon takes Devin to his work, which I'm like, that is so unprofessional to take your spouse with you to work. And he works, he no longer works as a part-time delivery person. He works at like a cell phone shop, and he buys cell phones and he sells them. Well, Devin gets in there and she's asking questions and stuff like that. The boss's English is not the best, but like it seems like he understands kind of what she was saying. Devin had the nerve to say, oh, like, are these phones stolen? Because Ji-hoon used to steal phones and stuff like that. And I'm like, girl, are you trying to get him fired? He's the breadwinner. Like, what are you doing? And it's just like, I'm like, what kind of like foolishness is she doing? And like, she's gonna mess up his spot, and then if he gets fired, she can't say nothing. I don't even know why he brought her there anyways. So then they go to the wedding hall to kind of make the final arrangements for the wedding. His parents have booked it, so they just go in there to see it. When Devin sees it, it's not what she's looking for, which I don't know if she's expressed what she was looking for, but it's not what she's looking for. So she's kind of disappointed on the way that like things look and how they operate their weddings there. Because she wants to have an American style wedding. The problem is that they have some aspects of the Americanized wedding where they do have the ceremony, but they don't really have a reception. She found out their weddings are only an hour, and it's usually you have everything almost like you buy in a package. Everything is booked ready, and you go in and you go out type of thing. You take some pictures and that's it. And that's not what Devin was looking for, which I think Ji-hoon should have explained to her too, because it's not even though there are some things that are very similar, you're missing a lot of American traditions in the wedding, so I think this should have maybe been discussed. But she's very disappointed because it's not what she dreamed of, which it's weird to me that these people say that they have dreams of, they dream of their wedding and they dream of getting married, and it's just like, okay, cool. Especially when I was a little girl, I've always had, and I'm like, a little girl, all I thought about was like Barbie, Bratz, theme dolls. Like, I didn't think about weddings. But yes, that's it with them. So last but not least, we have our most forgettable customer, our most forgettable couple, Tim and Melissa. So they finally sleep together. Yay, it's whatever. So they talk about like them seeing other people while they were going through their problems. Tim said, no, I did not see anybody else. I really was in love with you. I wanted to make it work with you, so I didn't see anybody else. And then Tim asked Melissa, like, hey, did you see anybody else? And then Melissa's like, I don't feel like I should answer that. And I'm just like, first of all, you've already answered that with your answer. And at this point, like, do you want to be with him or not? Like, you have to be honest. You can't just be like, well, I don't feel like I need to answer that type of thing. Let it go, and it is what it is. She finally admits to him that, yes, she did sleep with somebody else more than once during their breakup or whatever they want to call it. He's obviously mad, and he's just kind of like, I can't believe you did this to me, but he does want to forgive her, and he does want to make it work. And then the last part of my notes with them is I wrote that, like, I don't feel like she's into him. I feel like it was a nice concept. Maybe a concept on the phone, a concept when he was in America, but then in reality, it's just kind of like, no, because she can't move on from this situation, and I don't blame her, but if she can't move on, then she needs to let him go. Because this whole, like, oh, we're just gonna hang around each other and just hope that, like, the spark comes back is just a waste of everybody's time. So that ends the recap of my 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 2, Episode 16 and 17. Next week I will only do one episode. It was a lot doing two. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
I'm just a dumb cunt, fucking sick and tired of it. Maybe I could front love, maybe I could buy a zip, maybe I get fucked up. Next time I could save some. Why it's gotta be like this? Why it's gotta be that way? Put it inside. Feel so rise up, banging on that loud.